Welcome to the Art of Classiness Podcast, a show where we redefine what it means to be a classy lady. And sometimes it's messy. I'm Robin.
And I'm Deborah, two friends turned classy ladies who are here to discuss life's ups and downs, navigating the complexities of adulthood, and how the gift of friendship is essential to belonging.
Today we're talking about something we've all felt but rarely say out loud. Making new friends as an adult is basically dating, minus the romance, but with way more overthinking.
We're breaking down the whole process. The moment you decide you're ready to put yourself out there, the awkward first hangs, the excitement when you actually click, and yes, the gut punch of getting ghosted by someone you thought could be your next bestie.
So follow along, give us your feedback, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
What's up, classy ladies and gentlemen? Robin, how are you?
I am so excited.
Oh.
Tomorrow starts the curling league that Seth and I entered with some of our friends.
Yes.
And yesterday, a group of us took Learn to Curl, like a 2-hour class. I'm so glad we went because there's a lot to learn, actually. It was super fun. Apparently, I have the skill set to be the hammer.
Okay.
Which that's the person that goes last to knock something out that gets us the points. I don't fully understand. It just sounded like a really good thing, and that made me happy.
Gotcha. So if I'm visualizing this process, are you scrubbing or are you curling the actual curl thing?
Everybody cycles through. Everybody does a little bit of everything. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So you take turns.
Okay.
But yeah, tomorrow's our first real game. Like, obviously, we're not taking it super seriously, but I'm actually really excited. I've always wanted to learn curling. Anytime I watch the Winter Olympics, I end up watching some of the curling, and I'm like, that's going to be me one day.
Mm-hmm.
And here I am living that dream.
There you go. It's never too late to keep chasing your dreams. And I'm so happy that you guys found that.
There were some other people next to us playing a real game, and lots of elderly.
Mm-hmm. You're going to have that.
Lots of elderly out there being active, getting physical and stuff. So I'm like, this is long term. This is long game, curling.
You could be doing this for the rest of your life.
I could end up in the Olympics myself.
It's not too late.
Who's to say? Who's to say?
I love that for you. Your nickname could become the Hammer.
Oh, man.
How about that?
That'd be so cool. That'd be so cool. Because all my nicknames is about me being tiny. So...
yeah. Here we go. A rebrand.
Yes.
2026 rebrand.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Sign me up.
Yes.
How are you?
I am great. Speaking of 2026 rebrand, I decided to kick this year off intentionally by filling my own cup on New Year's Eve. I didn't have any plans. No man's no plans, Yeah. And I think I've talked about this before. Maybe I haven't. One of the best things that I cook is a beef Wellington.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a labor of love.
It is.
Okay. Anytime you're making steak, you obviously need to know what you're doing. And I don't grill steak normally, so we're already getting into dangerous territory. But I've made it a few times, and I've almost exclusively made it when I've been in relationships as sort of like an act of service for a man,
Yeah, like, look what I can do.
Yep, for Christmas. It's like a little Christmas special,
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make myself a beef Wellington for New Year's Eve. And I'm going to indulge in like just a decadent dinner alone. And it turned out perfect. I also made some roasted asparagus. And then I bought dark chocolate and I dipped my strawberries in some dark chocolate. And it was so lovely and perfect. Honestly, at this point, like, I enjoy my own company so much right now.
Aww.
That the bar is like very high.
Yes.
And it should be.
This is what we've been talking about.
we have been talking about this so much over the course of this year.
Yeah.
Because we're coming up on a full year where I've not been really like in a relationship at all. And it feels really good. And so I'm very proud of myself for prioritizing my own needs and really like figuring out how I want to be treated and truly trying to have an attract mindset. Like I'm not chasing. I'm attracting this year.
Yes. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
You know, not prioritizing how somebody else wants to be treated anymore. They will get treated well, okay, once I'm locked in. Don't get me wrong. But
yeah, gotta earn it.
They got to earn it this time. I'm not just going to give them that right away in order to hope that they will meet me there eventually. No. So yeah, I took care of myself real well on New Year's, and I feel like it's set the pace for how I plan to operate for the rest of this year. So
good for you.
I'm feeling good. That's my rebrand.
My New Year's Eve consisted of me ordering a bunch of snacks from the grocery store, like chocolate and mostly chocolate.
Yeah.
Seth was pulling it out of the bag. He goes, "Which one do you want?" And I said, "All of them." Hello. And so I took a picture of just like everything in my lap. I literally ate a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Love that.
I'll send you a picture.
I think you did.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yep. Just a lap full of snacks. Love to see it. So yeah, today we are going to talk about the parallels between trying to make new friends and dating, because truly sometimes it feels like the same thing, minus the romance. Although sometimes I do feel like when I'm trying to make a new friend, I do feel like I'm flirting with them.
There's it's a platonic romance of like, I'm going to get her this thing that reminds me of her, like a little plant, like, hey, this made me think of you. It's kind of flirting.
Yes. You're like walking this weird tightrope of trying to be charming.
Yeah.
And also not trying to make them think that you are flirting with them, and also not trying to come off like too needy and trying to play it cool. Like it's almost at times more stressful than when you are trying to date.
Yeah.
Because I think we know like sometimes girls can be a little bit more judgmental, and it feels harder to sometimes crack that code of when you are trying to make new friends. So today we thought it would be fun to examine the parallels and almost see what can we learn from dating, like what works in dating, and how can we apply those same type of rules to what the struggles are when you're trying to make a new friend as an adult.
And this is something that Deborah and I have been actively working on, specifically in the last year. I moved to a new place. You're just building a whole new life for yourself. And so I think this is going to be a good episode for us as well. Let's all learn together.
Yes. Yeah, we are the teachers and the students in this episode.
That's right.
And it's even funny because you are doing this curling league, and that's a great way to meet new people, like those shared interests. So I want to keep tabs on how that goes in the future too.
I must say, after the curling, so we were with two other couples from like the bigger friend group, and one of them, like we haven't spent a ton of time with. And so when we left, I called them and asked if they wanted to go to brunch with us. And they said yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome. Baby steps, baby steps.
Baby steps. But yeah, I'll keep you apprised.
Love that. Well, let's break it down from all the stages, right? Because just like dating, it starts with that first feeling of really deciding to put yourself out there. And I know for me, I kind of had this revelation post layoff that I really needed to build an entirely new community, like from scratch. Like no longer could I just sort of rely on people that I was working with to be anchors to a social life anymore. Like that world didn't exist. And now that I'm working in a remote job, like that really didn't exist. So last year and really going into this year, the seed has been planted in my mind of, okay, let's do this. So stage one is really when you make that decision. And in dating, this is really when you say, I'm downloading the apps again, which is the worst thing to say when you're single.
It really is. It really is. It's a necessary evil, the dating apps.
It really is.
Especially in this day and age, post-pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
It really affected how we socialize, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I used to be so much more outgoing
Mm-hmm.
and excited to meet people. And it's almost the complete opposite now. Like, I want to make new friends. I don't want to leave my house.
Ugh.
You know?
Honestly, yes. And we blame a lot on the pandemic, but it really is like such a true turning point because when I became newly single, like post-separation, that was like 18 months before the pandemic. And boy, was I spoiled, you know, because I still had my spry 35-year-old body and mind. You know, I was much more apt to go out and socialize and drink. And boy, was it so easy to just catch somebody's attention at the bar, to strike up conversation, to be like, let's go to this concert. Let's go to this, you know, street festival, like just be so social. And post-pandemic, absolutely not am I doing that. But transitioning that to a friendship lens, I also kind of feel the same way. Like, you're telling me I need to just go places and like talk to strangers? Like, what? How do I do that? Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Aside from, you know, downloading the apps, you know, Bumble has the BFF finder, stuff like that. There's also the route of your friends thinking they have the perfect friend for you.
Oh my God.
Just like dating, you know, and you recently told me about like some friends where you thought about introducing me to them and you're like, you know what? They're not going to jive. And why force that when I'm not going to be there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people, they don't think about the whole scenario, like the personalities and stuff like that. You also never really know what's going to happen, but
right.
It's just someone else deciding who would be great for you and like the pressure that you feel to make it work. Because it's like, this is my friend's friend. Like, what if they don't like me?
Right.
This is the whole like getting in your head, right?
Mm-hmm.
At that point, it's not just about forming a new friendship. You're thinking about the friendship that you already have and how it could affect everyone's perspective of you. And not to say that that would happen, but that's just the thoughts that end up cycling through.
Yeah. And I think it's a really kind thing when you're like, oh my God, you guys should hang out. That's great if you're going to be there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And if I was going to be there and could facilitate where we're all hanging out, I would totally do that, Robin. But I would never be like, hey, you guys are both going to meet up at this coffee shop. Have fun. No, I would never set up a friendship blind date between the two of you because I am the reason that you guys would get along. You take me out of that equation, I really don't know.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
where that puzzle would really fit together. So if you are that person that thinks your friends would get along, make sure you're there.
Yeah.
You know, be the conduit.
Be the facilitator.
Yes, 100%.
You're the one that knows stuff about both parties. Help them find connection, you know?
The same way that like you can't really force two people to date who are not ready. Like you can't force two people to hang out and be friends if like there's just not a natural connection. So yeah, if you are able to either hang out with fringe friends or go out in a big group and kind of get to know maybe the second degree friend in that group and sort of get your own thing going, that's a really natural way to maybe spin off, get a little spin-off show going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Side characters are a great way to get a spin-off show going. Get your own friendship.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
And finding adjacent friends is way easier than just walking into a crowd full of people that you've never met in your life. It's way more low risk, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's easier to find connection is what we're trying to say here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if you bomb with your best friend's best friend, like that's hard, you know?
It really is.
But like hanging out with your best friend's old college roommate, low risk.
Low risk. That's way more low risk.
Right. Absolutely. So yeah, that's a good way to just slowly dip your toes in when you find yourself ready to put yourself out there and find new friendship momentum.
The wine club I'm in is a perfect example. I've started to form my own friendships with some of these women just by going to wine club every month. And the only reason I'm in this wine club is because of Jackie. This is an example of making adjacent friends. It has been very successful for me here, which is great because, like I said, leaving the house is hard for me.
Right. Yeah. You got to find a reason to leave the house. Okay, that leads us to stage 2, that first date energy. So you finally met a friend that you have a little bit of connection with, and you decide we're going to take it to the next level. Let's hang with each other. But not all first dates go well. So let's talk about some of the awkward encounters that may happen when you decide to hang with a new friend for the first time.
I'll tell you one thing that, like, this isn't an exact scenario, but this is something that I've done on many occasions, is that I overshare.
Oh my God. Yes.
I try not to trauma dump, but sometimes people ask me like a question to get to know me of like, do you have any siblings? You know my answer to that.
Oh God. Oh, Robin.
You know, like, it's tough.
What do you say? Like how?
It depends on the person and like the scenario.
So I just want to take a step back because if you're a new listener, you might have no idea what we're talking about. So let's give a new listener the new friend treatment here. So, do you have a big family, Robin? Do you have any siblings?
And so I freeze. I think about what I should say, what I want to say, whether or not I want to share. And I say, well, originally I had 3 siblings, 2 brothers and a half sister. And they like, what do you mean had? It's like, well, both of my brothers have passed. And then they're like, oh my gosh. And it's
there we go.
It's not like I can't talk about it. It's just like, you just met me. And
right. This was supposed to be the lowball easy question to get things started.
Yeah. And God forbid they ask me what happened.
God forbid. Yeah.
It's rough. It's really fucking rough.
Oh, fuck, Robin. I'm so sorry.
So,
can I recommend a dark humor adjustment to that?
Sure.
I started with 2 brothers and a half sister. There's no good way. There's just no good way. So yeah, off to the races. We just started this hang. Oh, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. So yeah, that's where we start.
But
I feel you. I mean, I think, first of all, so sorry that is your reality, obviously.
Yeah. You would think like over time I get better at it, but nope.
No, of course not.
Nope. Even now, when you ask me, I'm like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, it's just a wound, obviously. If people don't know us, dark humor is how people cope. Okay, so
yeah,
obviously we're not minimizing that, but
no,
it just goes to show like, yes, I completely understand the oversharing aspect of it. And I think many people are in that position, whether it is something as dark as losing family members or just not knowing when to stop talking in general. I feel like I do the same thing. Like I anxiously will just keep chattering because silence makes me very uncomfortable. And I am always worried that I'm dominating the conversation and I don't know when to shut up. And I always am looking for the off ramp and I hate that part of myself, but I also just easily fall into that. And so it can be really challenging to rein it in, but also not be that person, you know?
Yeah. So that's, talking one-on-one with someone, right? Like, what about when it's a group? Personally, I have a recent experience of this. I think I told you about it.
Yeah, I would love for you to share this story.
So I'm on this email newsletter called the Bend Buzz. and they send out local news and happenings around town. And they recently did this friendship meetup thing where you fill out a survey to tell them a little bit about yourselves, and they pair you with 5 other people who have different traits. I think the idea was like, everyone has their strength. Let's put those different strengths together to form some kind of friendship. I don't think it was smart. I don't think it was the best way to do it. I think there's some very specific questions that they should have asked to help them really hone in on like how these groups were going to work together. And that's not to say that I did not enjoy the women that I met with. They were all very nice. We had some good conversation, but it was also extremely awkward when you'd be talking about something and then the conversation would kind of end and then we'd just sit there in silence.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, this is like when we end up waiting 20 minutes for the check.
Yeah.
Everybody's just like looking around, ready to go, ready to leave this awkwardness. And I actually forgot that I took a gummy before I walked in to the restaurant. So I'm sitting across from this lady and I ate half my sandwich. I asked for a to-go box. It took so long for us to be able to pay out that I actually opened the box and started eating again. And I was like, it's so strange. I just got hungry all over again. I don't understand. And I was like, oh, I took a gummy before I came in here. And she laughed.
Okay.
That was pretty much it. You know, I kind of threw it out there as a like.
Yeah? Any takers?
Is anyone? No.
Anyone else have to cope like that? No? Okay, just me.
Yeah, I handed my phone around. I was like, everybody put in your number. We'll start a group chat. If anybody ever wants to come to the wine club that I'm a part of, because they were also talking about how hard it is to make friends.
Yeah.
So I sent a follow-up text. I was like, hey, like, again, like, just reach out to me if you want to meet up again or if you want to come to one of these wine club events. And like, just nothing. But I'm proud of myself because I never put myself out there like that, ever.
I'm proud of you too. I'm really proud of you too because you saw it, you signed up, you went for it. And just the same way that you would never expect to go on one date and marry that person, you can't expect to go on one friendship hang and be like, new best friend. Like that would be a psychotic mindset to have, you know?
Yeah. I hope maybe I end up running into one of them at another event and that might spark something. Because again, like I didn't dislike anyone. I actually really liked a couple of them, but
yeah,
it felt kind of like speed dating.
Yeah.
And of course, one of them, I'm assuming the extrovert at the table, let's all go around and say your names and what you do. And I was like, no, this is my worst nightmare.
And that person would be me. I would be that person at that table. I know it would be me. I'm so sorry. It's who I am.
Hey, guys, that's not what we start with, okay? The introverts don't like it.
I know, but you got to break the ice.
I get that. Have a better question. What's your favorite animal? Does anybody have pets?
Yeah.
Everyone with pets wants to show pictures.
How many siblings do you have? Everybody go around the room. That's an easy one.
Is anyone no contact with their family?
Oh my God.
Put out some feelers, you know?
Oh man. But yeah, sometimes you just gotta accept that you're not gonna click with everybody that you meet at those things. And that's okay.
Yeah, it's not necessarily rejection. And I didn't consider this dinner that at all. If anything, I was kind of taking notes on what I felt like I did well, what I could have done better. Because I did I brought up my dog at the end and everyone was like, oh, you have a dog? Can we see a picture? And like everybody got excited again. I was like, always lead with pets.
Lead with the dog.
Yeah. So it was a generally positive experience and it has not deterred me from putting myself out there again, but you're gathering data.
Yeah.
You're learning more about yourself. You're learning more about what it is that you are looking for in a friend. So it's all like positive stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
I would also say those awkward interactions don't necessarily mean that you're incompatible. Something that I think is important to consider when you find yourself in these situations is that repeated exposure is going to beat instant chemistry every time.
Yeah.
So give whoever this is that you think you could have a good relationship with, give it time.
Mm-hmm.
Set some kind of regular meetup like, hey, let's go for hikes on Sundays or meet for coffee on Tuesdays. Give that relationship time to build and see where the repeated exposure takes you.
I could not agree with this more. I mean, Robin, you and I were not close for the first 6 months to maybe a year of knowing each other.
My repeated exposure to you guys is what got me into this fucking group. I wouldn't stop.
Okay, in fairness, you were the youngest, and that there's a big difference from 21 to 25 at that point in time.
Totally.
You had just turned 21. So it was the life differences then were a lot bigger at that moment in time, right?
Yeah.
But that is a great point. You're not going to always hit it off right away. So if there's a little bit of spark, just keep hanging out and see if there could be potential to be long-term friends.
I'm going to throw out an example. Shrek. Donkey.
Yeah, that is a good example.
It's actually the perfect example of repeated exposure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Donkey just kept on keeping on.
Really wore him down.
And where did that get him?
Besties for the resties.
That'll do, Donkey. That'll do.
Oh, that's a great line.
Mm-hmm.
Wear them down.
They tell you to go away? Don't.
Yeah.
Actually, that'd probably be really bad.
Right. Okay, but what about when it does click? Suddenly you're overthinking every single text like you are a lovesick teenager. What do you do then?
I'm going to be honest. This is where I'm actually incredibly grateful for AI. Because sometimes, like if I'm talking to somebody who could potentially be a new bestie, I struggle to say something the way that I want it to be received because I don't know how this person reads text. I don't know how they receive them. And so I get AI to help me work it out. I don't do this all the time, just for very specific things. And even the way I just explained this tells you how much I overthink.
Yeah. It can be hard, because it's like the same thing when you have a crush on someone. You're like, okay, I got it. I want to play it cool.
Mm-hmm.
I want to let them know that I am interested, but I don't want to come on too strong. Do I send a follow-up now? Maybe I'll reach out in a few days. Maybe I'll wait for this natural thing to happen. Should I wait till they reach out to me? It's so crazy how similar those two feelings can be.
Yeah. Someone has to be brave and send that simple text of, let's do that again.
Yeah.
It's okay to be the first one to reach out. You'll soon learn whether or not this person is as invested as making a new friend as you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I have experienced that. We've talked about this in other episodes of friends that I thought I was going to have a new best friend. And it just faded out. And it's not, I don't think it was my fault at all. It's just life circumstances, right? But I was taking the initiative to try and set up these hangouts to see where it took us.
Mm-hmm.
And it took us nowhere. And that's okay. Doesn't mean you shouldn't stop trying.
And that is the hard part because when you're younger, there's so many opportunities to cluster the hangouts.
Yeah.
Weekend, right? You could do a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, easy, right? You could hang out in the middle of the week. There's happy hours. There's so many cluster opportunities. And when you're older, if you have kids or just life circumstances, you're lucky to hang out with the same person twice in 1 month. That is whoa, you're pretty social. At this point in my life, it feels like. And I remember meeting someone in the beginning of the year and I was like, oh my God, she's so cool. And I get her vibe. I feel like she gets my vibe. And we were a part of the same networking group. And like every month, I just made it a point to like keep going back to this networking group because I was like, I am going to make her my friend. It's going to happen. I'm just going to keep showing up to this group, even if I have nothing to offer.
And that's repeated exposure.
That was the repeated exposure part. I always made it a point to talk to her. And I think it was like the third or fourth one before I left, we were like chatting the most. And she was like, do you want to like get lunch or coffee sometime? And I was like, yes, I do. And she looked at me and she said, can we like be friends? And I was like, yes, I do want to be friends. Like she was thinking the same thing. It was so adorable. And we are still in touch to this day. We hang out monthly. We've since formed a group of like moms, which I've talked about a little bit on this show. But it was honestly the cutest little friendship meet cute moment ever because it's like we both had the same game plan of like, we're locked in, like we get it, you know? So sometimes you just got to put yourself out there and she made the first move and I'm just so grateful that she did that.
That's such a great story.
I know, it's so cute.
And it's a great success story of how repeated exposure works.
Yeah.
How you persevered through self-doubt and discomfort. And I think even if things hadn't panned out the way that they did, you still learned a lot about yourself, how the skills that you do have when socializing with new people, because it's so easy to have self-doubt, especially when it doesn't pan out, you know?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And you get this urge to quit, and it can turn into a spiral when you feel like you've been ghosted by someone that you thought things were going well with.
Yeah. Yeah, because if she had gone radio silent, and we were supposed to hang out and I had like never heard from her again, that would have been probably as hurtful as like being stood up for a date or having gone on 1 or 2 dates with someone and then just like never hearing back from them again. Like I honestly would have probably felt the same sting.
Yes.
And it happens a lot, I think, with friendships. And we have done a whole episode on friendship ghosting.
Mm-hmm.
But it happens a lot out the gate with friendships that are building too.
Yeah.
It hurts on a traumatic level when it's your best friend or someone you've known for a long time. But we don't talk a lot about the friends that like really never even got to make it out of the gate. You had like 1 or 2 hangs and then you just fizzle out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great way to put it, fizzling out. I think something to remember when you're on this journey of finding new friends, building community, is any rejection that you may feel is not about your worth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you need to harden just because it didn't work out with one or multiple people. I know that's a difficult statement.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot easier to say than it is to do, but I think we oftentimes forget that nobody's thinking about you as much as you think they are. They're thinking about all their own shit.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they don't have space to work on a new friendship. I've certainly been there.
Yeah.
Many times.
Most definitely. And I think that's why it has been hard for me to really form that community, if I'm being super honest with myself, is that I have had a ton of other competing priorities over the past few years, most certainly over the past 18 months. I mean, I've had to really prioritize other parts of my social life. So I can't always be so hard on myself. And sometimes you just have to make things what they are, right? Sometimes it's okay to just say, these are my neighborhood friends and we see each other quarterly and that's okay. We talk in the street. We hang out over the holidays. We do summer barbecues. We take care of each other's kids. And that is what it is. That's okay. I don't necessarily need to have them know my entire life story. I don't need them to feel as close to me as my best friend in North Carolina or my friends back in Austin. Like, you don't have to have such a high bar for new people in your life as some of your most rich friendships, right?
Yeah.
There are different categories that people can be in. My new mom friends, like, they have a whole other outlet for me. We can share our experiences in the workforce and being single moms and trying to forge our own path. And they know a total other side of me.
Mm-hmm.
And your work friends know a professional side of you as well. So just because they're not going to hit every single mark and every single need in your life doesn't mean that they are not friends.
Yeah, there's so many different tiers.
Mm-hmm.
You can have as many tiers of friendships as you want. Some people like that. Other people, all they need is a small group.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay too. I will say that's probably the person who has a harder time making new friends, which hopefully you find this episode helpful.
Yeah. And that is where making friends later in life is different than dating. Because when you're dating, you almost always have a goal in mind. And for a lot of people, not everyone, a lot of people, that's to find one life partner to lock in with.
Right.
Thankfully, when you're trying to make friends, you don't have to have it be so serious.
Yeah. You don't have to wonder what their salary is. You don't have to know if they have kids.
Right.
Or whether or not they want to have kids. Like, you're not affected by that.
Nope.
The way you are looking for a life partner. Like, the standards are different. They're a lot lower for friendships, starting out anyway.
And broader, too.
Yeah. So consider that when meeting new people. Like, they don't have to be just like you. They don't have to have the same goals as you. They could be the reason that you start seeing life through a new lens. You might learn a new way to approach something that you've been struggling with. Like, I could take my own advice, honestly. It's just like, be open, be curious. Even if you don't hit it off from jump, doesn't mean it's not something that could grow over time. I don't think you should go straight to disappointment.
Right. And just because you don't hit it off from the jump initially doesn't mean you might not run into each other later and be like, hey, girl, remember that? You know what I mean? Like, the bar might be lower on the second meeting. You might be in a different place. You might be in a different headspace. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes just meeting and getting over the awkward hump makes it much easier for that second or third time where you see each other. And the point is putting yourself out there, you're meeting new people, and you're opening yourself up to a world of possibilities. So be positive and be open-minded.
Opening yourself up to a world of possibilities. I love that. I firmly believe that. And I could stand to do more of it.
All right. Well, Robin, let's arm each other with a friendship survival kit. And honestly, some of these things we could actually apply. Well, I can apply to dating as well. Shall I choose to do so this year?
Okay.
You can't because you're locked and loaded, but maybe I can use some of these things.
I'm locked and loaded?
I don't know. Are you?
I'm locked in.
You're locked in. Okay, the first, and we've said it before, but the key to making friends, the building block is repeated exposure, okay?
Wear them down.
Wear them down with your presence. You keep beating them up with your presence. You go to the same event, the same class. You do this 3, 4, 5 times, whether it's a fitness class, whether it is the wine club, whether it is First Friday at an art museum, right? You just keep showing up. You show your face over and over again. Repetition is key.
Yes. Here's an easy one. It's a 2-parter, okay? Find something to compliment them on, and then ask a question about it. It's a great conversation opener. Hey, I love your dress. Where'd you get it?
Ooh.
You know?
That's good.
It doesn't have to be like, so where are you from? I hate that. I hate that.
Right.
Just be like, I love your fashion sense. How did you figure this outfit out?
Yes.
Tell me your thought process.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Here's a great one for those introverts. Host your own low-key thing. So think wine and playlist, or maybe
a little movie night.
A movie night, DIY if you want. Bring the people to you. Or maybe if you're new to the neighborhood, have a little barbecue at your place. Get to know the people, you know?
Yeah.
Open the doors up. You know they want to see what you did to that place, okay? They've already stalked the listing, if not come to the open house before you moved in. Why don't you let them see for themselves? That's what I did. That's how I met my neighbor across the street that I'm close with.
They wanted to see the inside of your house?
Well, her son ran over because he saw that I had a son. And so he ran over to meet my son. And she came over to grab him. And I was like, come on in. You want to see what I did? And that's how we became friends.
Aw.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. The next one is the 24-hour follow-up text. We talked about overthinking when you should or shouldn't text someone. I think especially when it comes to friendships, like there's not a rule there.
Mm-hmm.
Just send the text. If you enjoyed hanging out with them, let them know.
Yes.
They might be thinking the same thing as you. Like, gosh, I really enjoyed talking to her, hanging out. I hope we get to do it again. And then they receive a text from you and they're validated in those thoughts. So
100%. And this is again where making friends is different and lower stakes than dating. Because I would also add to that and say, when they cross your mind, text them, even if it's something little. If like an inside joke crosses your mind or like a meme you saw or a song you heard when you were together, maybe not like a romantic one, but like something funny or like, oh my God, heard this today, or like, oh my God, the craziest thing happened. Text that person. Let them know that they were on your mind so that you're staying relevant to them. And that could open up the possibility for them to say, hey, a couple of my friends and I are getting coffee this weekend. Do you want to come? Something along those lines, right? But just waiting for the opportunity to present itself to hang out is how friendship inertia dies. So you got to keep it alive.
yeah, that's how things fade out.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we urge you guys to try one of these things this week if you are on the hunt for friends, and let us know how it went. You can email us at artofclassiness@gmail.com or send us a DM on Instagram or TikTok at Art of Classiness. Did any of them work? Let us know. All right, it is time for our class act of the week. This is where we highlight someone, something, or even a parasocial relationship that really showed us what it means to be classy. And this week, it is Robin's turn. Robin, who's your class act of the week?
So my class act is this lovely English gal on TikTok. Her account is Clean with BEA. And I've been following her for a long time. I actually originally started following her on Instagram, but now I follow her on TikTok because who's Instagram?
Your grandma.
So she moved into a flat that turned out to be infested with black mold, which is very dangerous mold to be inhaling. Her landlord was a piece of garbage. She couldn't get out of the lease. She was too broke to move anywhere else. And so she started documenting, like learning how to clean every room properly to like successfully eliminate the black mold as much as she could. This place was really bad. And just over time, you saw her cleaning room by room. It was really amazing, like seeing how good she was getting at it, learning what kind of cleaning products would work best. And because of that, she gained a huge following, and she ended up earning enough money to make it a full-time job to clean other people's homes for free. People who severely needed it, like hoarders where you can't see the floor. And those cleaning projects are completely funded by her accounts and like donations that people make. And she's also gotten branding partnerships with like Scrub Daddy. I just watched her doing a little commercial for HG, which is they make this mold eliminating spray that she swears by. And I believe her watching the way she's able to make these homes sparkle. Like you don't think it's possible. And then you watch her do it. And she does a really nice voiceover while you're watching her through her progress. And I've seen her helping people like first responders and like teachers, people who are low income that really need that help or have suffered a traumatic event and they haven't been able to recover from that trauma, that depression, you know? So it's just been really inspiring to see all that she does, like what moving into a really shitty apartment has done to alter her life trajectory.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she's just doing really amazing work. It's very inspiring. And I think everyone should be following her. So yeah, Miss B is my class act of the week.
It really is such a selfless service that she provides to other people. You sent me a video. I could not believe the space that she had cleaned out. It was difficult to watch. Therefore, I cannot imagine cleaning it. I think she said it took her 6 entire days of work to do. So to do that for free is so selfless. And I think she knows exactly the impact it has on people. So it's a great person to highlight and such a beautiful class act.
Yeah.
It's time for one of our favorite segments. They're all great. Class or crass. Okay, I think we can all feel this pain. Someone cuts you in line at the grocery store. Is it classy to say nothing and seethe internally, or crass to call them out loudly?
I've mostly been the first one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Depending on the scenario, like who cut me in line. But over time, the older I've gotten, the less afraid I am for those kinds of confrontations. Like, oh, I was right here. So
yeah.
Instead of like being aggressive about it, I'm like, oh, I don't think you saw, but you just walked into the middle of this line. The end of the line is over there.
You know what's funny is I am way more prone to do this on behalf of someone else.
Same. Yes.
I seethe internally if it's just me, because most of the time I'm like, unless their cart is more full than mine, then I'm like, oh, no.
Mm-mm.
Right. But if you have less than me, if it's like 1 or 2 things, I'm like, whatever. But if I see you doing it and someone else is the victim, I'm like, actually, ma'am, I will be the hero for someone else. And I think the creation of like self-checkout where it's like 4 and we as a society need to create our own system of going, you know what I mean? Of like deciding which one to go has just exacerbated this problem. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because people try to be sneaky, like they didn't know.
And like form a different line.
Yeah. They think there's like 2 lines. It's like, no. There's one. We have a queue system. We all know what's going on. We know that the one in front goes to the one that's open. Okay.
Yeah.
So don't come in here acting dumb. We've all been doing this for a while now.
Yeah.
So I think it's classy to call someone out, quite frankly.
Yeah. Here's an example of someone taking the opportunity to turn it into a kindness. I just had like one thing, and this guy was walking up to the same place as me, and he got there before me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was fine with that. But then he saw that I just had one thing. He's like, actually, just go. You can just go in front of me. That was so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I was happy to just stand behind him, but he took that as an opportunity to be like, you know what? You can cut me.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Super classy. Very classy.
That's happened to me a few times, and that's always like very sweet.
Yeah.
You know, if you just like have 1 or 2 things, or, you know, the grocery store is really a great opportunity to be kind and selfless.
Mm-hmm.
And it really can brighten someone's day because it's already a pressure cooker of stress. It can be, you know?
Especially if you're at Costco on a Saturday.
Oh my God. I mean, there are just some places that I will not go. And one of them is like Walmart or for me, the Sam's Club is like literally right around the corner. It's the only reason I go to it. But Walmart or Sam's Club on a Sunday, not happening.
Mm-mm.
It's just like everybody's first day on earth are those places.
Yeah.
And so when you come across people who share a kindness in that moment, great.
Yeah.
But an instant like this where someone takes advantage, okay, you know what you're doing when you cut somebody off and you need to restore order.
They're seeing if they can get away with it.
Mm-hmm. Order must be restored.
They need to be called out, actually. They need to be shown that they can't always get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
It's like, nice try. You're not getting by this time.
As a society, we will not tolerate this.
No. And I will say it is still crass to call them out loudly. That extra word there.
The loud is unnecessary.
Yeah, that's crass. It's not crass at all to gently lead the way. Actually, just keep walking back here and we'll be good.
In the Midwest, one word makes or breaks this from being crass. And you know what that is?
What?
Oh, actually, you got it. Yep. It's just Yep. It's a curious word.
Kind of like when you're talking to a kid, like, oopsie. Oh no.
Yep.
You made a mistake.
It's in between a oops and oh. It's an ope. And it just implies I don't think you knew what you were doing when you did that. And so I'm going to just correct you a little bit.
I'm going to pretend to be ignorant. I'm going to give you the opportunity to do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see where that takes us.
There you go. Declared.
Declared.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good one.
That was a good one. All right. Well, we went deep today. From Bumble BFF horror stories to the sting of friendship ghosting and why staying open anyway is the ultimate classy move.
But that's why we're here, to unpack the awkward, vulnerable, totally human side of building connections with a little humor, a lot of heart, and, as always, a ton of class.
We want to hear your stories. Have you been friendship dating lately? What's your biggest win or cringiest moment?
Drop your thoughts at artofclassiness@gmail.com or DM us on Instagram and TikTok at Art of Classiness.
Thanks for listening. And remember, classy is a state of mind.
So mind your classiness. Bye.